Kutres. Gary is a sales director at the company Schuerkamp, and Gary has a global experience and keen understanding of the trade and treasury space. And today, Gary will shed light on the practical applications of technology in addressing trade finance challenges and driving business efficiency and growth. And last but not least, Mr. Zia Afin. Zia is a Senior Executive Vice President from Bank Asia Limited in Bangladesh. And Mr. Zia currently leading the international division at the Bank Asia, and he oversees a device portfolio bringing valuable insight into international trade and regulatory compliance. So I would like welcoming all speakers and sincerely appreciate your time and joining us today. Thank you so much.
Hello, everyone.
And I would like to also encourage our today's audience to participate actively in our discussions. We will structure our meeting in format of questions and answers with speakers. And of course, we are welcome you to ask your questions. And it will be great if you share with your challenges, questions, and as well as case studies with which you can face during your digital transformation. And before beginning the dialogue, I would like to engage our audience that we have better understanding who are you. And I would like to ask my colleague who support me with technical assistant Jordan to upload first poll for the audience. And I kindly ask today's participants to answer the questions that you see here. First of all, we would like to know from which country you are, region you are. Jordan, I don't know, we can't check answer. It's not active. Could you please manage? No, it doesn't work. So I would like propose that we will do it, but just to save time, to go ahead with questions, and Jordan will manage with the pools. And I would like to start our discussions with Francis. Francis, Europe EBRD has designed digitalization as one of the three priorities under its current 5-year strategies. And as a part of this approach, your esteemed organization is partnering with digital solution providers and banks to support digitalization efforts in trade finance within and beyond the region of your investment. And it's quite interesting to know your experience and your thoughts. How do you believe the ongoing digitalization of trade finance is empowering banks to enhance their capabilities, and which specific strategies or innovation have proven instrumental in fostering empowering digital solution for trade finance in your region? And maybe small comments from your side concerning unique challenges for small and medium-sized financial institutions in navigating this digital transformation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Elena. Good morning, colleagues. The first step of having trade finance available is obviously having a correspondent banking available, and that is very important, because we see that there's a reduction in the number of correspondent banking relationships in the world, and that is due, and the link to digitalization will become obvious. That's due to the cost of onboarding the smaller banks in the more difficult countries. Essentially, the price is not worth the cost in many cases, and that's an issue for the smaller, medium-sized banks, especially when the environment is not easy from a KYC AML standpoint. So preserving kind of correspondent banking relationships is essential. And for that, digitalization is also very important because that's what enables to reduce the cost. So that's why, for example, we are partnering with Swift, the KYC registry that Swift has created. It's a very important tool to facilitate the establishment of these relationships. Then the way we look at it, we work as EBRD. So we are, for those who don't know us, we are an international financial institution focusing on Central Eastern Europe, Central Asia, North Africa, created about 30 years ago. And we created the concept of trade finance programs among international financial institutions that since spread to places like the IFC and the ADB and so on. So we work between banks. So we'll help a bank have a trade finance relationship with another bank. We don't work between a bank and their own SME clients. But digitalization touches all of the stages here in the chain, meaning not just between two banks where we are very active, and we've developed, for example, robots for pre-filling the applications to EBRD of the proper documentation. But also, digitalization is important between the banks and their clients, especially as the less experienced clients like SMEs have more difficulties dealing with all of the complex documentations that come with the modern trade finance. So we've, for example, partnered with an organization called Comgo, which is one of a number of digital trade finance platforms currently available on the market, and certainly one of the market leaders. So a number of our partner banks, we work with around 350 partner financial institutions in our 36 countries. A number of them have expressed interest in developing their own digital solutions. And so that's why we've decided to partner with one provider to help reach out into the variety of the mostly small countries in which we work. And that means to support partner banks to understand the importance of developing digital strategies for trade finance, showcasing the benefits of digital trade finance solutions to their clients, to support them when they would like to enhance their knowledge of the commercial, technical business cases for developing digital strategies, and then to keep them up to date and informed to adopt their own solutions. As I said, we continue the promotion of Swift's KYC registry because it's a secure global platform. It's very standardized, as Swift knows to do, and obtaining up-to-date KYC data from counterpart banks is always a good first step. Even though KYC these days, as we all know, becomes KYCC, right? Know your customer's customer, or even know their own customers. So there's a number of steps you need to take, especially in our region where the trade with Russia is very, very strong, and there's a risk of sanctions, and so banks need to be quite careful about the KYC. And then finally, the fourth thing we do in terms of our strategies, we are constantly on the lookout for digital solutions to facilitate ease the life of our partner banks and facilitate their own relationships with their own clients, be it digital promissory notes, digital factoring, new efficient commercial solutions for screening against sanctions, adverse media, identification of ultimate beneficial owners, suspicious activities, and so on, and again the automated compliance checks. So that's it doesn't work if you just focus on one element of the chain. I think what we are trying to do is to build a digital ecosystem for our partner banks to thrive.
Thank you so much, Francis. I absolutely agree that it's trade finance is so complex field of cooperation between a lot of partners and engaged all participants of the industry. And for your insight. And this way, I would like to shift to Gary, who represents a fintech company, which develop fintech solution. Gary, could you uh, share with your experience how does your company contribute to the digitalization of trade finance, and which specific digital solution do you propose that it's streaming trade finance operation? And maybe from your side, how do you see, as Francis said, it's very smaller bank is challenging with the budget for digitalization and implementation on solutions. Maybe you could share with your experience, how do you manage with this? How do you see your clients?
Yes, of course, Elena, and thank you for inviting us to be here, and thanks to WSBI for putting on this event this morning. Good morning, everyone. As Elena said, my name is Gary Cuttress, working with Surecomp, and let me try and set the scene with you with regards to Surecomp. We are a 35-year-old organisation. We've been supplying trade finance solutions to some of the biggest banks around the world for many, many years. We have customers that go back to 1988. So what we've built over this time is a very strong network of banks and uniquely corporates that utilize Surecomp technology. We have 7 offices supporting these 300 banks and corporates, and this provides us a unique view into the trade finance world as we connect the parties of that trade finance transaction. And I agree with Francis when he says that one of the barriers to entry has been the cost of some of these areas. And from a Surecomp perspective, that's been very much key to what we talk and what we think. And we've enabled certain areas, certain types of corporates, certain types of banks in the smaller areas to come on to the newer Surecomp technologies for no charge. We don't want that to be seen as a barrier to entry. So 6 of the world's top banks use Surecomp, and a recent survey of the trade finance solution providers put Surecomp way out as a clear leader in the space. We have the largest number of users, ranked highest for company strategy, and also the highest for our capabilities. And as I mentioned, we have some very long-term partnerships with our clients. And it's an exciting time as we help banks and corporates travel down their own digital journeys. With the onset of newer technology, we can provide the same award-winning trade finance solutions that we've provided in the past to these really big banks, but now down using our SaaS technologies to the small and medium-sized banks that wouldn't really have entertained the budgetary requirements of those earlier solutions. So we can now provide those award-winning trade finance solutions like Docker, which is what sits at the bank's back office to manage their trade finance solutions. And more recently, we have Revo, which is the collaborative trade portal for the banks and, most importantly as well, for the corporate. So we're now providing, as we've termed it, TFAS, or Trade Finance as a Service. And it is ideally suited for the small and medium-sized banks and their corporate clients to bring that collaborative piece of work into play around trade finance. It allows for those smaller banks to benefit from this world-class IT solutions and allows them to provide a far better service to their clients. Yeah, we talk to banks where they're using Excel and they're using Word and they're using email. And to compete with the bigger banks, we need to provide a better service to the corporate clients. And that's what we allow these smaller banks, medium-sized banks to do. And provide a view, a collaborative view to their corporate customers. And it's important to note that these solutions do not carry the same required investment the earlier solutions did. They're fast to deploy. We've we've deployed in between 10 and 12 weeks with some of these banks. And they benefit from the 35 years that I mentioned of us looking at the best practice for all the different trade transaction workflows that we can bring in automatically to our new TFAS customers. Now that saves a whole host of time in the development of the solution and takes away the pressures of the small and medium-sized banks to actually document their workflow processes. And that is seeing a much larger interest from those types of customers. Our solutions, especially from a Revo perspective, are based on 3 pillars with our new customers. We have this engagement piece, so we can collaborate with the banks, can collaborate with their corporate clients within the Revo platform. So imagine you're in a trade transaction and you're able to receive and ask questions of other specific members of that transaction. And that information stays there for life. We have stories of banks and corporates trying to remember who agreed to what and trawling through so many emails to try and find out who agreed to pay the courier charge, for example. So that's the engagement piece. And then there's the connect piece. So through Revo, we are bringing to market a fintech hub. You know, technology companies for years have been guilty, in my opinion, of building silos. And you can go and talk to a number of different organizations where they've signed up with a company and they can't do anything outside of that piece. So we are connecting through APIs in Revo to a whole host of other fintech organizations. So your small and medium-sized bank connects once with Revo, and we provide the API connections to companies that are experts in compliance or document checking or dual use goods. Digital signatures is another that's been coming on. We've just done some proof of concepts with some electronic bills of lading companies. And there's also ESG scoring and a whole host of others. So by the banks and their corporates coming onto Revo, it provides that type of solution. Elaine, I think that's really key for your organisations to understand. And then the third is our enrich, and that's to provide much more data at the fingertips of your banks and their corporate clients to make the right decisions from all the aggregated data that they have come across during their work with regards to that. And some of the benefits that this brings to the banks, in a recent discussion with a top Asian bank, they were talking about they've received a 77% faster back office transaction process using the solution. So that really helps to, I hope, build a picture for your guest on this call as to what we can bring to trade finance transactions.
Thank you so much, Gary, for your overview of your solutions. It's quite interesting. I think most of our participants interested in such solutions. And now I would like to give a floor to Mr. Zia, who represents today a commercial bank, Bank Asia. And we would highly appreciate, Mr. Zia, if you share with your digital solution in trade finance operation about your experience in this. Do you have any strategy? Have you passed this? And maybe you could highlight which challenges did you face and if you have any solutions. And of course, it's quite interesting to know how do you manage this partnership, or do you have in-house? Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Elena. Thank you. And I like to congratulate my fellow speakers and dear participants. Thank you very much. You know, the digitization is not a concept for the large and, scale banks who are the global trade leader banks. So it is not a very new concept for them. But of course, for small and medium-sized bank, it is relatively new concepts. Digitization, centralization, that has started a bit earlier, but
Mhm.
digitization, the small and large medium sector banks are a bit behind. And of course, the infrastructure and the other IT facilities is an issue for those financial institutions. Usually, bank in Asia, Africa and the Latin America are facing some challenges, which is desperately, issue for them. I'd like to point out all those things, and especially Bank Asia's concept and how Bank Asia, as you asked me, is adapting the digitization things, all those things. Of course, in a country like Bangladesh and the growing economic areas, it is a challenge. The first thing I consider, it is a cultural issue become, because digitization, any if we feel or want to do any changes or any migration, we all know migration has a pay. So
Mhm.
digitization, it's an issue for user-friendly thing and all other relative, how technology we should use, how we use the technology, do we know the technology? All things are issue for the country like Bangladesh and third world country. However, of course, the digitization concept we are adapting. Uh, Implementation of digital platform, of course it is a platform. The here again is a conflict of concept.
Mhm.
Previously what those banks practice was, is yes, we are doing everything on our laptop or desktop, from our laptop or desktop, but those are more or less module based. So the concept is the module based thing, it is digitization, but it is not. The individual module for, let say, letter of credit module, say bill discounting module, trade finance parts module, those we think that these are digitization. Actually, these are not digitization. Digitization means, I consider it as a whole, centralization and run this show with a complete IT solution, a
Mhm.
platform, trade finance platform. Those now are providing many fintech companies and the trade finance solution companies. So this is the conceptual side that we are trying to adapt from Bank Asia part. You know, of course, the automated workflow is there. On digitization or trade finance platform, there should have automated workflow process, so that, and online trade finance services, like what I mean, that customer should have entrance from his office,
Mhm.
especially the corporate customers. So corporate, we are trying to build our digitization process on that way, actually, from customer end. It will start from customer end. Customer will allow to input his requirement from his office, which will come to a bank's platform automatically, and the processing will start from there. So this is again a very important issue, you know. And of course, the cyber security measures we should have take care of. That is a very important issue, cyber security issue. And then again, the as I said, bank like small banks or the medium sector banks, they are very sensitive, price sensitive, because the board and the beneficial owner all are very price is the issue for them. So we should have consider the price for any digital trade platform. That is again a issue. Usually what happen, we all see that the price went up to even 6 million, 7 million for any digital platform USD. So this is again a issue, how we can accommodate or how we can minimize those prices, or better, those who are providing digital trade solution platform to the market, they should have that consideration that for the small bank or the retail bank or the bank, third world banks, if price is an issue at the very beginning on the digitization process, it will automatically switch off from the board end, because they more or less they consider the price rather than the digitization or things. They consider the efficiency. Yes, efficiency, that does mean manual efficiency. We are paying board or management, we are paying for to you, you should have developed your efficiency to provide better customer service. It is a it is a skill from your part, but usually you have to take consideration for the users of IT platform and all those things that I said. That is a cultural issue. This is a struggle for third world banks, I'm sure. However, of course, the again, the improvement of efficiency is there to use the digital platform. I'm sure the executives and officers who are working for the financial institutions, they will get a chance to improve themselves, and that chance we should have taken. And of course, the customer's experience, we, for any customization, we are trying to take the customer experience, because customers here in this world, in this part of the world, is a totally different. Usually the corporates or the SME customers, everyone has commercial officers. So commercial is to come to banks, and the culture is they willing to sit with the concerned officer, have a cup of tea, and they will dictate you how to do this thing, do this thing. So this is again issue. So on digitization process, all these stopped. So again, a res challenge is over there, how to manage those commercial people. So all are here, but the, as I said, and the other thing, the benefit we are trying to take from digitization, that is the regulatory risk. Regulatory risk is an issue for any financial institution. We all know with financial risks and other risks, there are so many regulatory risks. So if we go through digitization process, then those risks will automatically, will drop. You know, and the I have mentioned the cybersecurity thing, and of course the data processing and data preservation. That is also a very important issue from digitization. And we all know we have to preserve our data on digitization process. That is a very easy task for the financial institutions, that we should take in our mind. That's it now. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Z. It's very insightful. Thank you for this. Indeed, we have to keep in mind all aspect and data. It's crucial nowadays in all industries. I think, yeah, you're absolutely right. And I would like to turn to my colleague Jordan. Jordan, could you please upload a survey to our audience? I think it was the problem. Yeah, I would like to engage audience and ask to answer the questions. You see that we would like to ask and to know from which region you are, and how would you rate your current knowledge on digitalization trends in trade finance? And to what extent has your organization embraced a digital solution in trade finance operation? Could you please choose your answers? And I think, Jordan, we can upload also second survey as well, that to do two survey together, and we will see then results. Could we upload the second one, Jordan? Yeah, and the second part of questions, we would like to know what is primary challenge for your organization in digitalization of trade finance? How would you rate the level of collaboration between your organization and fintech firm company? And to what extent do you believe existing legislation support or hinders the seamless adaptation of digital solution in trade finance? So we kindly ask to answer these questions, and we will see results. It's interesting to see. I think, Jordan, we can look at the result of the first survey. Oh, it's quite interesting. We have two regions representatives, at least, who answered. It's 50% from Europe, 50% from Asia. Then we have, most of our participants have basic understanding of knowledge digital trends in trade finance. And most of the audience organization implemented digital solution in trade finance. Oh, at 25%, it's fully digitalized, and 25% limited adoption. Quite interesting. Jordan, could we shift to the second poll? Second poll, first question. What do you perceive as a primary challenge on digitalization trade finance? And majority of participants pointed technological infrastructure. Also, cybersecurity and compliance take the same percentage. And also big portion takes for others. Interesting. The next question, how would you rate the level of collaboration between bank, your organization, and fintech? So for 17%, these results are not question is not applicable, and majority of the audience, like more than 66%, it's like evaluate quite strong collaboration, like moderate and strong. Sounds very good. And to what extent do you believe existing legislation support or hinder seamless adaptation of digital solution in trade finance? So majority, it's quite diversified structure of the answer, but majority answered support to some extent. And for 20%, like neutral impact, hinders for some extent, and hinders significantly. So it's, nobody answer support significantly. Yeah, it's predictable. Thank you, Jordan, for your kind help. I would like to propose to continue our discussions. And Francis, are you still with us? I would like to raise a short question for you. You mentioned several names concerning partnership. I would like to ask you to share with your maybe case studies. I think for audience will be interesting to know about case studies which were successful, good, and ongoing. Thank you.
So, I mean, case studies. we have a good case study, which is unfortunately not ongoing anymore. We
Mm,
tried, the way we try to support trade finance digitalization is to encourage clients to work with one another using a platform. And one of
mhm,
the platforms we tried this with was called WeTrade, and as we all know, WeTrade
yeah.
ceased operations last year, unfortunately.
Mhm,
But we have also tried with a few other platforms as well. I think experimenting is quite important. And coming back on the survey results there, let's say
mhm,
legislation supports somewhat or whatever. It's even more complicated because it's not just legislation in one country; it's also legislation in the
yeah.
other country that needs to allow for, say, digital
Mhm,
signature. There's a
mhm,
there's a lot of lawyers that will tell you that nothing replaces a wet signature on a piece of paper, right? And
yeah.
so you cannot digitalize that if you have a lawyer on either side of the transaction that doesn't support this, or if the local legislation doesn't either. So it's and even if you go with ICC rules and so on,
Mhm,
it's sometimes complicated. So we've had a few examples with people like Nordea, with NBG, National Bank of Greece in Greece, with QNB Al Ahli in Egypt, and so on, to facilitate transactions. And that serves as a demonstration to other banks. We've
mhm,
also focused more recently on uh, exploring digitalization for trade in agriculture.
mhm,
Agriculture is, of course, one of the key traded commodities in the world. We don't finance fossil fuels anymore in EBRD, so our
mhm,
commodities are organic more than petroleum. It is a whole supply chain that is in need of digitalization,
mhm,
from the farmers who need to know how to sell their product at the best price and when to sell at the best price, to the traders who operate the international trade, to the shippers and so on. And there's also obviously an issue about insurance these days, of course,
mhm,
with the war on Ukraine. The question of insurance for cargo is also a key element of facilitating trade. So what
mhm,
we derive from these examples or these case studies is that, again, you cannot solve just one piece of the puzzle, otherwise you haven't solved much.
yeah.
And also that, as Zia was mentioning, the cost of some of these solutions can be a
Mhm,
barrier to the smaller banks out there. And my hope is always that technology becomes an enabler for smaller players to have access to solutions that enable them to play on a more level playing field with the larger ones. But if we're not careful, it also has the potential to actually create more barriers and make it so that the competitiveness of trade finance is an element of competitiveness of the economy. It's not like banks operate in
mhm,
isolation, right? So you have to have good solutions for trade that enables SMEs to thrive in a
mhm,
real economy in our countries of operations. And so having solutions that, again, we keep testing solutions, but having some that work economically, including at a small scale of banks, is very important. So that we do not see a divergence between the larger, more advanced economies
mhm.
and the smaller ones. And I'm hopeful, and I see that even in the smallest countries, people rely on advanced technology as well. So, but trial and error is essential.
Mhm. Thank you, Francis. Yeah, absolutely agree. But on the other hand, Gary, you present a fintech company, and I think it's quite challenging for you, as Francis said, that trade finance engaged legislation from different countries, from different regions, and I would like to know, how do you, as a fintech company, because you are like you should combine and include like compliance requirement and other issue in your solutions. How do you, as from perspective from this perspective, how do you manage with this? Could you share with some maybe examples when it was has been done? And of course, concerning cost efficiency, it's also interesting to know your opinion. Thank you.
Yeah, of course, Elena. Yeah, I'm happy to say it's as straightforward as it can be for our TFAS customers, right? So as a reminder, that's a trade finance as a service customers. And in essence, think of it as it's there, it's working, it's predefined. Everyone has access to our system, and we maintain that system to be compliant with what we is required this day and age. We appreciate that banks are under big regulatory stress for maintaining compliance, and that's from central banks, it's from governments, it's from SWIFT changes, and onset of ISO 20022, all adds burden to the banks in this regard. The thought of some of these regulations have definitely been a barrier to entry for many. Ongoing maintenance costs associated with this has been too much of a burden to bear. And knowing what has to be done in the bank itself and what regulations are required is almost turning into a science itself. And again, we don't want that to be a disabler for our corporates. Now, there's lots of things that are changing that is making the digitalization much more palatable for a whole host of organizations. I heard Mr. Zia say earlier about millions of dollars. I think from a digitization perspective into a SaaS trade finance solution, I'm pleased to announce that this is nothing like that sort of cost. And things like the UK Electronic Trade Document Act, the ETDA, that was recently passed into UK law. We've had MLETR that's happened recently. All of these are helping to remove roadblocks that were experienced in the past by both the corporates and the banks. And UK law, as we know, is very prevalent in trade. And this will continue to help to be a big enabler for everyone in the industry. But the exciting message that I think I can bring to this group is that SureComp takes care of the regulatory compliance for your TFAS solutions. So just to sum that up, it means that our banks and our corporates, they can then focus on what's important in the actual transactions that they're building between themselves, and we will take care of the compliance, and this has proven to be an excellent service to our customers. So our TFAS customers on Docker, our TFAS customers on Revo are up to the minute compliant as and when new rules and regulations come into play.
Thank you. And thank you so much, Gary. And Mr. Zia, you have very deep understanding, I mean, a clear structure of clear understanding of challenges. How do you foresee future adaptation to stay competitive in this space for your esteemed bank?
Thank you, Elena. Actually, technology is a changing platform again, technology. So more and more upgradation will come on that platform as well. If we think about back just 5 years back, the digitization of trade platform was not like that. Within last 5 years, it has improved a lot, and lot of adaptation has taken place, customization has taken place, you know. So it is the customization varies country to country again. Country to country, like third world country that has different type of regulation and practices. The Europe and US that have different type of practices for trade, operation. So those will we have to add on our process. That is one. The other thing, of course, the time, the digitization, the benefit which we are getting, this time saving, of course, customer friendly, all those area, and the compliance, you know, the data processing, the data procurement, all those things we have to look after. We have to look after on our future development. But at present, which we are enjoying from digitization, that is also a very big beneficial part for trade finance operation worldwide. That we should carry on. That is my opinion. And yes, the fintech companies, the other companies, those who are assisting worldwide, they should come with some solution, or like maybe jointly, a country like Bangladesh, we can do some motivational workshop, and we Bangladesh has, we all know, if I give an example, we have almost 58 banks, quote unquote, maybe it's over bank, but only 7 to 8 banks went into digitization process for their trade operation. So lot of requirement are there, but they are shaky. Their bit, knowledge gap are there. They are not running with the market adaptation. So all we have to take consider those who are working on this area. So the platform or solution those we are selling or developing, maybe it is a business, but part of your other responsibility, we should come with some workshop solution to make the market understand that this will happen if we go through digitization process. That is the idea. So as I said, it is, of course, the documentation process will become more easier, the time friendly, customer friendly, the and process is very easy. If we understand the technical side, then the process will become very easy for those who are using digital platform on trade platform, trade operation. So these are the area, actually the development side always will be there, because technology will change, and of course we should change our process and technical side as well, those who are providing the solution. And from the user side, we have to also adapt those things and prepare for any changes. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Aziz. Thank you so much for your insight. And now I would like to ask Jordan to launch the last poll for the audience. We would like to talk a little bit to the participants of today's meeting and to ask them several questions. Among them, uh, which future advancement in the financial digitalization do you believe will have the most significant impact on empowering bank and financial institutions? Is it blockchain, artificial intelligence, or cybersecurity measures? The second question is, in your opinion, what key success factors will contribute to ensuring a positive and sustainable impact on trade finance digitalization on the financial industry? It's a good point. I think it's about what we talked today. And how optimistic are you about the potential positive outcomes for banks and financial institutions resulting from widespread adaptation of digital solution in trade finance over the next 5 years. So we kindly ask to answer these questions, and we will see results. So the majority of the audience is more think about artificial intelligence as the most significant impact for future. Yeah. It's less for blockchain, and cybersecurity takes only 13%. Key success factors: 50% is strong collaboration among stakeholders, and 30%, 38%, it's also quite a high figure, technological innovation and adaptivity. And last question is about how optimistic are you about potential positive outcome for banks and financial institutions from adaptation on digital solution in trade finance over the next 5 years. So we have very optimistic audience. It's almost 60% very optimistic, and 29% it's optimistic. So almost 90%. Yeah. Almost all participants are very optimistic about future 5 years, and several people neutral. And we don't have pessimistic people here today. So it's good. And if I may, I would like to, time is running, and I would like to ask last questions, the same questions to all our esteemed speakers today. Because it's interesting to see from different perspectives. We have Francis from Development Bank, Gary from FinTech, and Zia from Commercial Bank. So from your perspective, how do you, which maybe key takeaway or piece of advice would you offer to, from your, take into account your experience, your background, your knowledge, which piece of advice could you offer to banks through their journey toward digital transformation in trade finance? And maybe you could highlight some points for big institutions and for small and medium-sized banks. Thank you. I would like to start from Francis.
Thank you. So it won't be probably surprising to you that I'm focusing more on the medium-sized banks. I think for the large banks, frankly, it's a question of staying relevant in a market and surviving in that market. And because people like Gary are going to eat their lunch if they are not moving themselves into digital, right? So it's really important for them to invest in strong digital solutions, and they can afford to do it. For the smaller banks, it's a bit of a different situation. I think the advice I would give to them is that, one, out of a lot of banking businesses, this, despite being the oldest financial product available on the planet, is a field that is moving fast. That is, but it's also one that it's not just a bilateral relationship with your client. You don't do trade finance with a client. You do trade finance with a client and with another bank on the other side. And so that calls for me, the key recommendation is if you're not sure what to do, talk to the other banks. Go and find some banks that are active in this trade finance. Look at the solutions that they have developed and that they are looking at, because you're going to be stronger together. And the last point is probably that you can have all of the AI and the systems you want. Ultimately, it's a question of people. And so don't forget the training of your people and the creating a community of trade finance professionals, again, not just in your bank, but with other banks in your region and more broadly, because that's going to be the key to the success of your business.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Francis. Indeed, we didn't discuss about training and stuff. It's also key for trade finance because, yeah. Thank you for this good note. And Mr. Zia, if I may to ask insight from your side.
Yeah, thank you. I'll be very focused on that area. My suggestion to the large financial institutes that number one, invest in scalable solution. Large financial institute have that capacity, so they should invest on scalable solution and prioritize security, securitization, and compliance. This is the area they should focus. And the other thing is utilize advanced technology, enhance advanced technologies such as the artificial intelligence, machine learning, and blockchain. All those things are the opportunity for the large scale financial institution on advanced using advanced technology. These three suggestion on my mind for the large financial institute. And small and medium, I have some suggestion, that is affordable solution. Of course, as I said earlier, and I like to thank Francis and Gary as well, that they have focused on the pricing and all this area. So affordable solution for the small and medium sector industries, we should go affordable solution. And of course, collaborate strategically. Strategically, that does mean I consider strategic collaboration with fintech partners, industries, association, or large industries to leverage sharing their experience, which already Francis has mentioned actually. And of course, staff training, that is very important for a small, and we should make them understand this is a very easy thing to do. We all should have come in front. So start with implementing changes, incremental changes. So that is also a issue. And flexible and modular system. So not go for at a time a huge solution. Flexible and modular system for introduce the trade digital platform, and chronologically we should go for the larger scale. That is my suggestion. And of course, the other area we should work, that is customer education and support. As I said, is a cultural issue for the third world country. So we should consider this area as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Zia, for your insight. Yeah, it's interesting. And last but not least, Gary, it's interesting to hear from your side, please.
Yeah, thanks, Elaine. I think my closing advice to the banks on this call would be to look seriously at the opportunities that lie ahead with digitalization, whichever way you look. You can level the playing field with the big banks and provide services to your customer that will improve your slice of that customer's wallet. When we talk to key corporates, they want to spread their transactions across many banks in multiple jurisdictions. And the service they receive from their banking partners is key, obviously, as well as price, but in deciding where to place that next transaction. We see more SMEs looking to utilize digital technology to help them gain access to funds. I'm talking to you from South Africa, and I've already had conversations whereby some of these corporates are keen to grab a digital solution because it will help them with their banking partners that are already on our Revo solution. And then I think I'm swelled. I'm really excited about the fact that 50% of the callers on, or the listeners on this WebEx spoke about collaboration as being a key area. And from my earlier piece, you remember that the collaboration not only between the banks and their corporate customers, but also between the other fintechs that we provide through Revo, I think is something really quite important and is a real game changer for these banks. As far as Mr. Zia is concerned, at Surecomp we have done a transaction with a bank in London. It's one of the key trade lanes between London and Bangladesh. And I'm really keen to talk to you about the other 57 banks that we can come and talk to. But finally, talk to us. Visit the website. Visit the Surecomp website. We publish our pricing for Revo there. It starts at 0. It builds from there, obviously. But we can help with anything you're unsure about. We can connect you with the relevant teams, provide the information, and help build these networks of networks to help this collaboration take place. That's all from me, Elena. Thank you for organising the sessions, and thank you to my other speakers.
Thank you so much, Gary and Mr. Zia Francis, for your insight and I think open, transparent discussions. It was quite interesting, and I would like to ask a couple of minutes for Q&A from the audience. I would like to ask to raise a hand if you have any questions. You have a great opportunity to ask speakers if you have any specific questions. Let's see if someone else. It looks like that.
How many participants are here now?
Excuse me, could you repeat? We have one raised hand from Onis. Onis, you're welcome. We are listening to you.
Okay.
Please.
Good morning, everyone. I want to start by appreciating the facilitators and Stephanie Garrick and the other. The area of my area of focus is artificial intelligence. We know that for the African setting, artificial intelligence is not common. It's not a common thing here right now. I want to ask, now that it's not common here, how can we make people to embrace it, our customers, the banks to embrace it? And I know it is financial intensive to do that. What road will fintech assist us with to get involved with artificial intelligence? Thank you. I don't know if you understand my question.
Gary, I think it's. Could you answer this question, please? Or
yeah, Eunice, I don't know that I fully got your question. However,
okay.
However, from a Surecomp perspective, our key focus is around the trade and trade finance processes. However, when it comes to some of the other areas that are important to trade, like document checking and this type of area, we can, through the FinTech Hub, connect our customers to other organizations, a number spring to mind, that incorporate artificial intelligence and machine learning when it comes to the checking of those documents, identifying what those documents are, whether it's a bill of lading, a certificate of origin, certificate of quality, invoice, packing list, blah, blah, blah. So that is where we would bring some of the machine learning and AI into the trade finance solution, if I understand your question correctly.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, sir. What I say, how can we make Africa setting to embrace it fast? One, because another issue here that many people believe that embracing artificial intelligence will increase the level of unemployment. Then how can we go? How can we help our Africa setting to embrace it? And apart from that one, then in terms of increasing our productivity, profitability, what role with artificial intelligence help us to play? What to achieve this? That's exactly what I'm asking for.
I don't know. I'm not
So,
sure.
Eunice, first of all, you didn't answer the question when everyone was asked as to where are you in the world, because I thought I was the only one sitting in Africa at the time. But we are. I think what I heard you say was, how can we help this in Africa? If that is the case, then we're working quite diligently with a number of banks, a number of corporates. I was with ironically, I'm in South Africa, where we're concerned about load shedding at the moment from the electrical supply thing. I met with an electrical supply company earlier this week, and they were excited about the fact that they can utilize Revo to connect to some of the big banks here in South Africa that are already on Surecomp technology with Revo. So I think that may have been your question. I apologise if I got it slightly wrong.
Thank you, sir.
But happy to, of course, take a conversation with you offline if that's required.
I would like to ask maybe Francis, you could share with your insight about artificial intelligence. Do you use artificial intelligence in trade finance operation?
We're looking into it, but I think the role of artificial intelligence is not for me. It's not essential. Um, but I mean, it's one tool, and it doesn't replace the pure brain of actual people. But it is a tool that can be helpful. As for whether there is something specific in Africa, uh, I, I'm impressed with Africa's entrepreneurship and youth, and I'm sure that we are now coming to see to a switch when Africa perhaps was a laggard in the past decades in terms of adopting technology. I'm convinced the continent will be a leader in the future, and so I'm looking forward to EBRD's starting operations in Sub-Saharan Africa in the next few years. I'm sure there will be a lot to learn.
Thank you, Francis. And I have question I would like to ask question from chat. Leticia Lazana is asking, I would like to know if any of our speakers is working in Latin America, and if so, how do you compare the state of play in digitalization in that region with other regions? I don't know.
Well, Elena, let me take that straight off. Insofar as we have, Surecomp, I mentioned earlier, has 7 offices. We have a couple in South America. They are doing particularly well. It's a really strong growth area for Surecomp, especially with the trade finance as a service, the SaaS solution for Docker and for Revo. I don't work that region, but my colleagues down there are returning good results, and it's a very exciting region for us.
Okay, thank you. I would like to ask audience if someone else has any questions that they would like to ask participants, speakers, or make any comments concerning experience in digitalization. So I hope I didn't miss someone. So I would like to thank our today's audience for their active participation and stay with us for this time. And I sincerely appreciate our today's speakers, Mr. Zia, Mr. Francis, Mr. Gary. Thank you so much for your input and insight. We will stay in touch, and it will interesting to see how this industry will develop, take into account digitalization and, as audience say, artificial intelligence and other tools. So it's interesting to know, and as was pointed by all speakers, I think one of the key is partnership and cooperation with all parties, sides involved. So I sincerely wish success to all participants in it. And it will be interesting to meet you in some time and see about progress. Thank you so much, and I wish you a wonderful journey in digitalization of trade finance, and looking forward to see you soon. If you have any questions, please contact to us. We will be happy to assist.
Thank you all. Thank you all.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks everyone so much, and thanks, Elena.
Thank you. Bye.
Have a good day. Bye.
Bye.
No.